All right, let's talk about the IELTS exam. Today, we're going to break it down step by step and turn all that overwhelm into a plan you can actually feel good about. So, does this feel familiar? You're staring at this mountain of an exam called the IELTS and you're just overwhelmed. I get it. There's so much stuff online, it's almost impossible to figure out where to even start. Okay, so let's cut through all that noise. We're going to build a really clear path forward together. Okay, first things first. Before you even think about studying, you've got to know your enemy. It's like preparing for a big game, right? You need to understand the rules, the timing, the structure, everything. You have to know exactly what you're up against. And this is super important. The IELTS isn't a one-size-fits-all test. Now, listening and speaking, everyone gets the same thing. But reading and writing, that's where it splits. If you're aiming for university, you'll be doing the academic version, which is, well, more academic. But if it's for work or immigration, you're probably looking at the general training test, which is all about everyday situations. So the absolute first thing you have to do is figure out which one you need. Don't waste a second studying for the wrong one. And these numbers, you need to burn them into your brain. Seriously, this isn't just random info. It's the clock you're racing against. The whole test is a game of time management. You've got 60 minutes for reading, 60 minutes for writing. Those are long, intense blocks where you have to perform. So your prep isn't just about English. It's about training yourself to work fast and efficiently within these tight deadlines. All right, so you know the test format. Now what? Now we build your game plan. This is where you create a personal roadmap to get you to your goal score. Without a plan, you're just guessing. This quote really nails it. You can't hit a target you can't see. So what's your target? You need to know the exact band score your university or visa application requires. Is it a 7, an 8? And sometimes it's not just an overall score. They might want, say, a minimum of 6.5 in writing. That number, whatever it is, becomes your North Star. It tells you how hard you need to work and where to focus. And this is how you do it. It's a simple 3-step loop. First, you set your goal score. We just talked about that. Second, you figure out where you're at right now. What are your weak spots? And third, you make a schedule that attacks those weaknesses while keeping your strengths sharp. Simple, right? Goal, find weaknesses, schedule. Repeat. Okay, but how do you actually find those weak spots? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Well, the good news is the answer is pretty simple. You have to take a full timed practice test. And I mean for real. Find a quiet place, turn off your phone, no distractions, and sit down for the whole 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's tough, but it's the only way to get a real, honest look at your skills and, just as importantly, to feel what that kind of intense focus is like. All right, you've got your plan. But here's the thing. Knowing what not to do can be just as important as knowing what to do. Let's talk about some of the most common traps that even really good English speakers fall into. Okay, look at this. This is so important. Vocabulary, or lexical resource, as the examiners call it, is a whopping 25% of your score in both writing and speaking, a quarter of your marks. And it's not about memorizing a bunch of fancy, complicated words. It's about using a good range of words correctly and naturally. So, trap number 1, trying to sound too smart. A lot of people think they need to write these super long, complicated sentences to impress the examiner. But honestly, it usually backfires. You end up with grammar mistakes and confusing ideas. The goal is clarity. Seriously, just write clear, accurate sentences. That's what gets you the points. Clarity over complexity every single time. And trap number 2, this is a big one. Misusing idioms. You know, those common expressions. Using one perfectly can make you sound great, but using it wrong or just using too many of them sounds really forced and unnatural. So here's my advice. If you're not 100% sure about an idiom, just don't use it. It's not worth the risk. And believe it or not, trap number 3 has nothing to do with English. It's about your health. Think about it. The listening and reading sections are pure concentration. If you show up tired because you didn't sleep or you're hungry because you skipped breakfast, your focus is going to be shot. It's so easy to lose points just because your brain isn't firing on all cylinders. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. Now we're going to talk about some real, concrete strategies for tackling each part of the test. Let's start with writing. In this big debate, should you do task 1 or task 2 first? On one hand, task 1 is shorter and maybe a good warm-up. But on the other hand, task 2, the essay, is worth twice as many points. So a lot of people say you should get that done first while you're fresh. Honestly, there's no single right answer. The only wrong answer is trying to decide during the test. Pick a strategy, practice it, and stick with it on exam day. Okay, let's circle back to vocabulary for a second. We've all seen them, right? Those online lists of Band 9 vocabulary words. Be so careful with those. Just memorizing a list of words you don't really understand is a recipe for disaster. You'll end up using them in a weird way, and trust me, the examiner will spot it instantly. It can actually hurt your score. So, what's the right way to learn vocabulary? It's all about context. Instead of memorizing a sterile list, find words naturally. Read articles, listen to podcasts, stuff you actually enjoy. When you find a new word, don't just write down the definition. Write down the whole sentence you found it in. What other words go with it? We call those collocations. Then, try to write your own sentence with it. That's how you really make a word your own. Okay, fast forward. You've done all the hard work, you've practiced, you've studied. Now it's about test day itself. Because it's not just about what you know, it's about how you perform under pressure. Your mindset is just as important as your English skills. And this is your pre-game checklist. It sounds basic, but it's all about eliminating stress. Get a good night's sleep. Eat a real breakfast. And please know how to get to the test center before the morning of the exam. Get there early, find your seat, and just focus on yourself. Don't worry about anyone else. And remember the ultimate motivation. You pass this thing and you never have to think about it again. Look, the IELTS is a challenge, no doubt about it, but it's a challenge you can absolutely conquer. With a solid plan, by practicing the right way, and by getting your head in the game, you can walk into that exam room not feeling scared, but feeling confident and ready to get the score you need.